Hello and welcome back to the AapnaReds podcast, the podcast that brings you everything you'd expect from a normal podcast with an added bit of rola and bunga that you can't get anywhere else. And to provide you with that bunga, as always, is me and the main man, Anu. Anu, how you doing this week? How you feeling? And how happy have you been with Liverpool?
All good, man. All good. Good to see it as always. Loving life, loving being a Liverpool fan at the moment. Absolutely, what's the word, man? Ecstatic after the 99th minute goal, but we'll come to that, I'm sure. But yeah, man, all good. Dulcinea, how's things?
Just about. I think my heart rate keeps getting higher and higher with every single football match that we have at this point.
You sure that's not because of all the mixed grills?
I don't know what it is, but it's either cholesterol coming from all the mixed grills, or it's the
You're giving away too many of these mixed grills, man. We need to calm down.
All we know, it's Liverpool causing it, and long may it continue. Because as long as it's entertaining, that's all we can
see why. You can see why Klopp's trying to retire now. Being a fan is bad. Imagine being the manager.
You can tell it's getting to all of us at this point. But shall we jump straight into it? Let's talk about the big games that we've had this week. As always, we know that the games are coming thick and fast, and we'll hop back to a competition where Liverpool have now gone a step further, and that is in the FA Cup. Managed to come away with the win against Southampton. A tough game, which we sort of said it would be. But did you expect it to be as tough as it really was in that opening 15 to half an hour of that game?
I wouldn't even say it's 15, half an hour. I think the first half was just completely Southampton. Yeah. They were so unlucky not to get 2, maybe 3 goals. They had some clear-cut chances. I was watching it thinking, what is going on? But that being said, obviously Liverpool being Liverpool, they don't like doing it the easy way, do they? And we've said, how many times have we said it this season? First half performances are shocking. Yeah. And then, fly on the wall. We'd love to see what Klopp says. I'm telling you, he puts something in the jar at half time and they come out a completely different beast, man. I feel like I'm just repeating myself every time we're on the podcast. Same thing, isn't it? It starts so shockingly, but it was literally, you looked at it and you thought, are they on a bit of a hangover here from the Carabao Cup? And it kind of looked like it.
Yeah.
Which is understandable. You give it to them as well, because after what they went through, 120 minutes of pure passionate play and like injuries due to fatigue and things like that, you got to give it to them. So the Nyane came out and banged in a couple of good goals, man, as well.
They did indeed.
Having a couple. What was your thoughts on it?
I think it's interesting because I agree with you there that it seemed like they were a bit hungover. Jadi piti like this, you know what I mean? Like they must have celebrated way too hard because.
You're going to let them?
I don't know. That's the interesting thing because if you think about the players that played, a lot of them were the ones that actually played in the final as well. Obviously, Gakpo plays, a few more as well. So you don't know. I was quite surprised at the fact
he likes a bit of a drink, doesn't he? He likes letting his players celebrate. I'm wondering whether they were given, an evening off, man. Lads, go on, man, go get smashed. But listen, you're gonna come in tomorrow.
I didn't see any pegs in the training room videos or in the dressing room videos. So you never know.
It was a Sunday wedding vibe, wasn't it? Everyone's got work on a Monday, but you know what? You still got to celebrate what happened on the Sunday, which is, something worth celebrating. So I wonder whether they were hungover on the Monday and then that carried over to the Tuesday, Wednesday, and
definitely
just carried on.
I think the good thing though was it seemed like the Nyane, because they aren't old enough to drink, they seemed like they were unprotected from it all because I think that helped in the sense because they brought a lot of freshness to the team, the energy as well. And I think it helped out a few of the others that must have been, struggling, must have had their orange juices in the morning because, they looked a bit tired, leggy out there, like you said. And we were really lucky, I think, to just still be in the game because, they had the ball in the back of our net within 30 seconds, even with, Van Dijk playing at the back as well. So it says a lot about how Liverpool were in that first half. But
you got to give it to the kids, though, innit, man? I mean, you think about it. When we play, even when we were younger, you'd give it 100% because you're not really thinking about the long-term picture. That's how younger players tend to play, and I think that's how the Carabao Cup final went. They put their all into it, not with a thought of crap. We got a game in a few days' time, which I think sometimes the senior professionals probably have got one eye on the next game and don't give 100%. Which I don't know, man. What's a bit at the moment? You probably want the youngster mentality, don't you? Just go all out every game.
And I think they were ideal for that game because especially with how Southampton were playing. You needed that high press really to get the ball back off them, because they were passing it about like it was a training game for most of that first half really. And I think if we'd had the typical midfield that we'd expect, maybe they would have struggled. Seeing Harvey Elliott and McConnell and Clark, Kumas as well, just bombing it every single time. Forest player, Southampton player touched the ball. That's probably what you wanted to see. In comparison to a sort of a relaxed approach we'd expect from
Yeah. Let them come at us and then we'll get them on the counter kind of thing. I liked Klopp's his analysis of the press though, which I kind of got myself. I'm not trying to say I'm some sort of expert analyst, but Klopp reckons that the high press was there, but it wasn't as good as his team that know how he wants the high press to be done does it. Because when I was watching it, I was thinking, these kids are good, man. They're running up to the ball. They're running up to the players that got the ball, But it felt frantic. It felt like they were just trying to impress, look over there saying, oh, Klopp, my man's watching, man. You know what? Let me run towards the ball. But when you watch our senior players do it, they tend to do it like a
pack movement, isn't
it? In it. And the player that's got the ball hasn't really got an option because the others are going as well. And I don't think that press quite worked, but they were trying it. You got to give it to them. Yeah. I'm sure he would have said to them at half time, listen, that's not how you do it. This is how you do it. And they came out and they completely turned the game on its head. But can't complain, can we, man? I think
can't.
I feel sometimes we come on here and we try and find ways, try and find stuff to talk about, but you can't complain, man. Can't complain.
No. Let's celebrate then. Let's celebrate the success of all the young players, because how amazing is it to see all these youngsters come through? I mean, we've looked at the Liverpool Academy for many years now and thought we don't really have that many good youngsters coming through. When you look at the other academies and making millions off of their players, but now, they're saying that the academy's worth near 300 million, and we can see why, because, you've got youngsters like Bradley, like Kumas, like Dan's, like Cade Gordon, Ben Doak, that can come in, play a game and look like they're not out of place whatsoever. And I think that's a great thing. And how much do you think Klopp's created into that? How much do you think that's a Klopp effect?
I think the confidence comes from Klopp, 100%. You play for the Liverpool Academy, at some point, if you show Klopp during training that I've got something, he'll give you a chance. I mean, look at training only, man. What? He looked like a 15-year-old, 16-year-old. Well, he is 16, isn't he? How old is he? 16, 15?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I'm teaching kids that age. I'm shouting at them for not writing their homework down and stuff like that. And this geezer's playing at Anfield in front of thousands of fans. That is crazy. I swear, I don't even know the kid. I don't know anything about him. But even I had a bit of pride watching him coming on. I was thinking, that is some good ass confidence that he's going to get from Klopp. And no one else would do that. Who else would do that? And yes, we've got to say that obviously if we had a full first team available, there'd be absolutely no chance he'd be starting or coming on even. But you got to take the opportunities when they come. Look at Conor Bradley, man. Yeah, a fine example of take the opportunity when it comes. And now I'm more than happy when Trent's not around. If Conor Bradley's on the team sheet, you don't even think twice.
Yeah,
Kwanzaa comes on, you don't even think twice. Kelleher's in goal now. You don't even think twice. You think, these are, I say experience. They're not experienced, but they feel like they're experienced players. And that's crazy. You know what? Big up Kelleher a little bit. I saw a report online somewhere today saying that his value is 25 million. That's bullshit. Way more than that.
No
way more than that. 25 million is nothing these days. You get 25 million for reserve players. Yeah. I think they're doing him a disservice there, man. He is worth way more after the season he's had with us and what he's done for us. But the academy players, I mean, I really like Dan's.
Yeah.
Dan's look like, I know he scored 2 and I'm trying to jump on the bandwagon, but I like his size. I like the way he runs. I like the way he's calm on the ball. He's good, man. Kumas apparently is meant to be just a goal poacher.
Yeah.
And he'll score from anywhere, which he basically showed against Southampton as well. So he's one. It's endless names, isn't it? Endless names that you can put in the team, and you think, he's not doing too bad. Mm-hmm. Who's been your standout one?
I think Bobby Clark. I think he's gone under the radar a little bit in that midfield. I think he's so dogged as well. It's almost like having Harvey Elliott in midfield, but with a bit more sort of awareness and technicality in there. He's so good. I'm like having him in there, but like you said, Dan's, he reminds me a bit of Solanke almost when we had him. The only issue with Solanke is he couldn't score a bloody goal when it came to it. But when he was, up top, he created so many options. He was so good with the ball, at his feet. Just couldn't get the ball in the back of the net. And I think with Dan's, it's a bit of that archetype, but a bit more sort of clinical in that sense. What I find even better, though, and it's something that I was thinking about earlier, is how many players have Liverpool signed youngsters? How many players have they brought in and paid big money for and are now out on loan? I think of Step Vandenberg, I think of Carvalho, I think of Calvin Ramsey as well. All these players that were brought in to sort of be these understudies to the players that we've got, and they haven't had a sniff or a look in whatsoever because for one reason or another, Klopp hasn't deemed them good enough to, play for the team. But then you see the players that have come through the academy and the players that, they haven't cost money for Liverpool, really. Yeah. They're, stepping in when they're needed. Do you reckon that's probably the way forward now? Instead of poaching, top-class talent, which they've tried to do in the past and it hasn't really worked, that they're set up now to really succeed with what they've got inside themselves, really.
True, but do you think they still play as good as they are without Klopp?
Well, that's the interesting thing, isn't it? And I think that's what the club will probably be looking at now is who can they bring in who's going to have those similar values to Klopp? Because, let's be even clearer as the fact that, Inglethorpe's done a great job at the academy, but now everyone's seen what he's done. He'll end up getting poached as soon as Klopp leaves, 100%. Think we've seen it so many times. Well, when people see how good something is, they just start sniffing around, and the money that we're seeing banded about now. I mean, Dan Ashworth, at Newcastle, 20 million, 10 million, whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy, isn't it? These backroom personnel, these sort of, corporate, people, they're worth more than some of the.
You know what they need to do? They need to poach the jar, Ollie, man. She's putting something in the jar. I'm telling you. Imagine she'll be worth her weight in gold.
Jill in the kitchen, get her sorted. Sue.
They'll be coming for you soon, saying, "Yo, your mixed grills are just doing something else to these players. We need you on board. Tell us where to go, where to eat."
Well, that's what it is. We're taking them for food. We're bulking them up, bringing them back. They have their cup of jar and they're sorted.
That's it, man. But you know what? I am a bit worried. Klopp's so good with young players, giving them opportunities to develop. And the only way you develop is by giving them game time.
Yeah.
I think what he's doing now, he's doing it very clever. The running that we got, I mean, look at the next 4 games. So he's given these players enough time to get accustomed to the fact, play at Anfield, play at the Carabao Cup final. The games coming up now won't seem like a nervous game for them because they've already played the big ones, and now let's put them into the deep end where, we've got Man City coming up, Man United coming up, we got the Europa Cup. You know what I mean? I think he's done it strategically well, and I think they might be ready to play. And they've got enough. They've got enough. Flight hours. I think they're ready to go out now and just prove that they deserve to be in the first team.
100%. And I think we've seen that more and more, and I think we'll see it more and more. I think the question, like you said, there is, are we going to see it more and more in the future with the next manager that they get in? And I think looking. I said a few weeks back on the podcast, I did not want Xabi Alonso, but now we're sort of growing into it. And, Leverkusen, I'm watching a few of their games and sort of the management style. Yeah. He's worked well with the young talent that he's got over there as Xabi Alonso. The players he's brought in, he's worked well with them. I think the other candidate is a sporting manager, and they've touted him for the fact that he's brought youngsters up through that team.
Who's that one?
I think his name's Amarim. I can't remember what his first name is. His name's Amarim. Something like he's not by the sounds of it. I think that's his name. We'll call it Umrit for now. So
okay, I've not heard that link, man. That's a good one.
Yeah, apparently, that's the owners are keen on this Umrit from Sporting. So apparently, he's good with Inyane. Apparently, he's a Klopp regen model. So he's another option. But if it comes to it, I was not keen on Xabi Alonso. But the market out there, looking at the managers that have got about, if there's someone who I think understands the club, someone who's been through the sort of cycles of it all, it's Xabi Alonso. And if there's anyone that's going to carry it forward,
the only thing that Xabi Alonso hasn't got, I think he's got everything else on paper. Obviously, he hasn't got the experience, but he hasn't got that gusto in it. Klopp has a gusto with all the fourth officials and anyone. It's basically me and my team against the world.
Yeah,
I don't think Xabi brings that. He's going to bring more of a calm, calculated. I'll have a reason why we didn't win, or I'll have a reason why we did
Yeah,
win, kind of mentality, rather than these are my mentality monsters. That's why
yeah,
we won, because they just, they won it. And I think that's what we need. We need someone that can get out of players 110%.
yeah.
We need a manager that'll get more out of their players than any other manager would get out. I don't think there's many out there.
Nah, there
You
isn't.
know what I mean?
Not
Apart
these
from
days.
Guardiola and Klopp. I mean, Mourinho in his prime, not
Yeah,
now. Not
no.
now. I mean, Mourinho in his
You
prime.
really want that rap though?
Fergie, obviously.
All the
Fergie
horror
obviously
that
used to get
Mourinho's caused.
loads. I mean, look at Fergie's last season where he won the league. Look at the players
Yeah,
that he had. So you've got historically all these managers that get more out of their players because they've got an aura.
yeah.
I don't think there's many managers out there now that have an aura.
I
It's
think what would be
phenomenal.
quite interesting though is obviously the team now, it's very South American, sort of Latin America dense, I'd say. And that seems to be the big sort of spine of the team, really. It'd be interesting to see whether that plays an impact on who he brings in. Xabi Alonso, obviously Spanish speaking, English speaking. That I think that, plays into it. They'll need someone that can sort of rally all the troops together. The last thing they want is, I don't know, someone like a Maurizio Sarri who can't speak English whatsoever, and it just causes absolute chaos in the
Yeah.
dressing rooms. So I think it's going to be a really difficult task. Obviously, we know to fill Klopp's shoes, but I think what's going to be even more difficult is to make sure that the club is running in the way that we've seen it, because we've seen clubs recently, obviously Everton, Forest being investigated. One bad season can absolutely ruin a club, completely. We've seen so
I
many
don't think
issues.
I don't think the club would give a new manager stupid amounts of money.
Nah,
I don't think Klopp has been someone that's always said, "Listen, I don't need the money. I'll do what I can."
yeah,
I think they've always given him what they can,
yeah,
and I think they'll carry on giving him what they can. There'll be more. I think now that the stadiums, 3 different stands have been made, and
yeah,
they're probably looking to transform the Cop end as well. There's plans going on, but so there'll be more revenue. I read a stat the other day that Liverpool are top of the shirt sales as well in the Premiership,
yeah,
in terms of the team that sold the most shirts. So
yeah,
revenue coming in is going up. So money going out or available to go out is good, but I don't think we're that kind of club, are we? We're not that
nah,
kind of club that spends stupid amounts of money on flashy players, because they've got that American model, like the Fenway model, where they've got
yeah,
a lot of stats behind what they do, and they try and make sure who they buy or what they buy is
yeah,
comes with some good stats, and
mhm,
it's worked. So I'm hoping they carry on. They're still trying to get sporting director in that'll help along with that. But yeah, I think in terms of the manager, we just need a motivator.
yeah.
We need a really good motivator. The players that we sign will do what the club intend them to do, but I think we need a
Yeah.
motivator. We just need someone that gets, like I said, 110% out of the players.
And I think the most important thing as well is they need to be given time as well. The last thing I think any Liverpool fan wants is it to be the case of let's get a filler manager in for a year or so, and it just not work, and it just create even more hassle. I think you want a project, you want someone from get go, like we saw with Klopp. This is how it's going to work. You need to
Yeah.
trust the process, and we're going to build again. And I think that's the most important thing overall is in them getting the recruitment right and making sure it's a right fit for everyone as well.
Do you know what I've always realised as well? I think the managers that are most successful are the ones where they've got nobody in the team that's bigger than them.
Yeah,
You start getting players in your team that have got more pull than you,
yeah,
you're always going to be second fiddle. So, I
yeah,
mean, for all these years we had Gerrard in our team, no manager was bigger than Gerrard. He would always be the one that the crowd, the fans, the local community, they all
yeah,
backed Gerrard. You know what I mean? Even, I hate mentioning it, but even like during the slip season,
yeah,
no one wanted to get on his back. No one wanted to blame him. But Brendan Rodgers went a couple of seasons later. They weren't going to give him. But if that was Klopp, I don't think he would have gone.
no,
I mean, look how close we got with all those trophies that we should have won, didn't win. They believed the process, they trusted the process, and they trusted the manager. So we need someone that is bigger than anybody else, has a character that the fans can buy into and just trust the process. They'll get
yeah,
time. I don't think anyone's expecting, next season us to be fighting City. I personally am. I'm not. I think there's going to be a dip, obviously, but I hope the new manager brings in a style that we can buy into, and once the players buy into it, I think we'll eventually go in the right direction.
100%. And we'll go back to the football side of it and talk about the direction we're heading in terms of the next round of the FA Cup. Obviously, the youngsters help us fire through and fire past Southampton, but we've been drawn away to Man United in the FA Cup, a game which we're probably excited for. It's probably a game we could have done without, to be honest with you. But Man United in the next round of the FA Cup, I think they'd enjoy nothing more than to be able to boast and flaunt the fact that they ruined Liverpool's quadruple, or that they got in the way of Liverpool possibly winning 4 trophies. So this game, it's going to be very, very big. And the fact that it's sandwiched between a European tie and then the week before we're facing Man City as well, it's going to be a very difficult period. But how do you think that tie is going to go away at Old Trafford?
Well, I think they're going to be very similar to how they played at Anfield.
Yeah.
They know what can happen to them if they allow us to play. I think they're going to try and stop us from playing completely, hit us on the counter. They are still dangerous. They have still got some players. Their advantage is, one, they're at home. 2, we've got a lot of injuries. So depending on how many come back for that game, we need a Mo Salah back, don't we? Come in and score a hat-trick and just put it to bed early doors. But on any other day of the season where we had a full squad, I'd be looking forward to this. But just because of the injuries and the fact that it's away and it's a cup tie, so it's not, a draw doesn't count kind of thing. We're kind of a bit more nervous than I would be. So I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, I always love playing Man United, and the banter's always there with the Man United fans. And if you get the win, then the banter after is so much better. But that game at Anfield earlier on, it's just killed it, didn't it? Just killed the vibe that normally a Man United Liverpool game brings about. It was boring. I know we had loads of chances and we didn't put them away.
Yesterday, didn't we? Like the same thing United did yesterday: sit 11 men behind the ball and just try and absolutely kill the game in every way possible. Didn't work, but that's clearly the United way of playing football this season.
They haven't got the discipline out there to carry it on for 90 minutes. That's what it is. It works, but I think after a while they'd get bored and the shape just breaks. They haven't got the consistency or the ability to do it for 90 minutes. But if I'm honest, I don't think it's going to be a good game to watch.
No, but I think it'll be a good game to see how the youngsters perform in it. A great tie to have in the FA Cup. No jeopardy really, in the sense of you're playing in a competition where we know that there's injury crisis and everything like that going on, but you're playing United, a team that haven't been their best this season, and the players that be playing in that game, to score, win, participate in that game and beat United, push Liverpool a bit further in Klopp's last season, could be a history in the making in itself. So
what I can see happening?
Go ahead.
Because all these academy players are Liverpool rooted, bleed Liverpool. I can see one of them or 2 of them getting sent off, letting the moment become too much for them. The Man United experienced players, messing with them, winding them up.
Getting stamped on. I can see it already.
You know what I mean? I can see one of them getting sent off, maybe even 2, just because of the inexperience of dealing with shithousery basically from the other side. So I hope that doesn't happen. Remember the start of the season, we get players sent off left, right, and centre. So I hope that doesn't happen. But you can see it being a passionate game with all the local lads playing if they get game time. So we just need to be aware of that, I reckon.
Well, we'll move forward again and talk about a team that United played recently in the Cup, and that was Nottingham Forest, which they beat them 1-0. And lo and behold, Liverpool a few days later go on to beat them 1-0 as well. But it wasn't as easy as it seemed whatsoever. I think I said it on the pod last week. I knew it was going to be an awful game. I think I said it was a 1-0 as well. So
you say 1-0. I was going to say, what was our predictions, man? We always make predictions and never remember what we predict.
But that was up there with one of the games of the season for us in terms of the result and how much it meant. Liverpool, needing a big victory. We've got Arsenal currently fighting for a win against Sheffield United. I don't know the score, but Man City obviously go on and get the result against United. So we knew there weren't going to be favours. So playing before those two and getting the result was really important. But how difficult do we make these games? Do you think it's the teams that make it difficult, or do you think it's ourselves that make it difficult?
I think we struggle against, but we've said it millions of times on the pods, that we struggle against the lower table teams. I don't know what it is. I think we're more effective when there's space, and the lower table teams just don't give you space, do they? They just sit back and they're happy to take on the pressure because they're used to it. They're so used to it, and they invite the pressure on themselves. And I think we struggle where we haven't quite. We need Thiago on form. We need Thiago in his prime. You know what I mean? So like he would get the ball and literally just create spaces where spaces aren't available. I think we're missing that kind of playmaker, and we're missing the kind of player that will make the runs in tight spaces. So we're, Mo Salah grabbing the ball on the edge of the box and taking two players on. We're missing that. I think that's why we struggled. Nottingham, fair play to them though. They had a few chances as well.
Definitely.
It's not even like it was a lucky. They were lucky to only have one.
I thought Origi was going to come back and haunt us as well.
Well, he had a good couple of chances, man. There was one. Was it the one where it was like more or less one-on-one through?
Yeah, and I think that Awoniyi as well, ex-Liverpool. He had a few chances, caused a few carnage.
So yeah, I mean, we make life difficult for ourselves. I've just looked at the Arsenal score; they're 3-0 up, and it's 20,
great. That's what we like to see.
23 minutes. All right, so then they're not going to. Sheffield United aren't going to help us out. Yeah, man, we struggle. We struggle against lower league teams, man. It's hard to motivate yourself as well against the low. You know what I mean? Going away to Nottingham, shithole Nottingham. Sorry, man, I don't want to say that a bit too loud. But yeah, who wants to go to Nottingham on a Saturday afternoon playing at the bottom, one of the bottom teams in the league? And how are you meant to motivate yourself against that? I'm struggling to motivate myself talking about it. Never mind playing against them.
Yeah.
What did you think of it? I'll be honest, I didn't even watch it. I watched extended highlight. I had the game on. I watched it for a bit. Can't remember what I was doing.
I think it's just one of those games where you do start to give up hope. I mean, I just kept checking and seeing everyone else scoring goals. I saw Spurs coming back and just thought, please, just get a goal in. And then I see Nunez's notification come up. Nana Nunez to the rescue. But it's Liverpool all over. But to me, it stinks of all the games that we had in the title winning season, even the season before that, where we went close. And it's these games where, you get that last minute result or you get a bit of luck and fortune. Obviously, the big talking point has been this refereeing howler, they're calling it, from Mr. Paul Taylor, even though he causes havoc for us whenever he's refereeing. But it's those little things that they can go against you, go for you. But when they go for you and, you end up winning the game, it almost feels like it's written in the stars. It feels cruel if there's no sort of happy ending at the end of it. And I think, it's one of those games where Klopp, will look back and go, God, we got away with that one. We really did get lucky.
Well, to be fair, we deserve it, don't we? We've had some shocking decisions against us earlier on in the season where you got to take it with a pinch of salt. And this, like I said, it always balances out, doesn't it? You always get some go for you, some go against you, and that one definitely went for us. But what about the goal, though?
Well, I think this is what makes it quite interesting. Obviously, you're talking about Thiago there and, the player creating chances and, moving in spaces. McAllister seemed to be that. And since he's moved a bit further forward, he seems to be doing that a lot more. Obviously, sets up the goal for Nunez, wins the ball on the edge of the box as well. So
that was shocking defending as well, though. We got
I don't know why they didn't just boot it miles down the pitch. That was very silly. But this is what I mean. Little decisions, little actions that just lead up to, these big moments. And I think for me, Nunez had a few chances when he came on. He had a header a bit earlier on that, the keeper saves. And
Captain Chaos, isn't it? Captain Chaos
is the one. But, Nakamma Nunez is coming good at this point. He really is becoming the man when we need him.
He's like him now, and I told you.
I always liked him. Him. I didn't like the 75 million that we paid for him. That was the only thing. So now he's proven his worth.
And now your boy's injured. Can't play.
I'm devastated. And I think, what actually is a good point to mention is since he's been gone, the front, 3-4 players that we've had really have not looked good whatsoever in comparison to Jota. I sort of look at Diaz, the Lelu has about 18 different chances in a game and can just about get one on target. I don't know what's happened to him. I saw a video talking about Gakpo as well as Jota, Jota the Slotter, we like to call him, because he gets a ball and he just puts it, a shot on goal or gets it into the net straight away. But Cody Gakpo takes about 8 different touches, can't get it out of his feet, and then ends up getting blocked. And I think that was a big talking point. I can't remember who was talking about it, but it was a big thing that, Gakpo, Jota, 2 completely different players, 2 sort of poachers in a sense, but because of Gakpo's frame and how he is, he just sometimes misses out on these opportunities, whereas Jota is one touch bang, and sometimes that is really what has won us a lot of games.
Isn't it? Yeah, it's a speed. Like, 100%. Sometimes he's good when he does his little pirouette, doesn't he? Gakpo's good at doing his little pirouette and shooting, like when he's got his back to goal.
He's great with the ball in his box. Great with the ball in the box at his feet. The amount of goals he scored where he's received his feet and done a little turn and got a shot off. But when he's one-on-one or when he sort of has the ball,
when he has too much time to think about it,
he just loses it a little bit, and it just ends up going miles over the crossbar. A bit like Diaz as well. Diaz, when he has a bit too much time to think about it, he almost just gets lost in the moment and just doesn't know what to do with it.
Whereas, to be fair, Diaz has been the same since we got him. We remember last season we were saying, he'll come good, he'll start scoring more goals, which he has. To be fair, he's added goals to his game.
Yeah,
he needs to add a bit of accuracy, doesn't he?
Of course.
I think he needs to add a bit of accuracy, and then with the amount of chances he gets, some of them should start going in. Nunes, always knew Nunes was going to start banging him in at some point. I mean, obviously he's not as prolific as he could be. He could be literally on Ronaldo levels in terms of goals, with the amount of Messi level, with the amount of chances he has. Even can't believe some of the. But then again, at least even Haaland the other day missed an open goal, so it happens to the best of them. Yeah. We got to give Nunes his what's the word I'm looking for? Let him have his ups and downs, because he's coming good in the 99th minute against Nottingham, giving us 3 points rather than a 1 point boring draw.
Definitely. And do you think those 3 points change whether or not people will be getting Jabir this week? What do you reckon? Let's go on to Jabir or no Jabir. Who's getting one or they're not getting one? What's the answer to this one?
It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because you play 99 minutes against Nottingham Forest and not have a goal until... Well, the easy one will be Mixie, but we'll come to that in a bit. Jabir, I'm struggling, if I'm honest. You'd probably give it to maybe Diaz with missing all the chances, but even that's a bit harsh.
I think it's not going to be a big Jabir this week. It might just be a little, pinch the cheeks, go, come on, Lulu, sort it out. It can't be too over the top. I think we need to be keeping them happy with the week that we've got with all the chaos and games coming up.
Yeah, go on. You give me yours then. I'm struggling this week with Jabir.
I think I'm going to keep my hand in my pocket, I think. But like I said, I'm just going to give...
We're getting soft,
I think we are. I think it's because...
It's been a few weeks now. No one's had a Jabir.
I know. I think it's... I don't know what it is. Maybe we're modernising. Maybe we're becoming more westernised. I don't know what it is.
Maybe give it to Mark Clattenburg. Maybe he deserves a Jabir.
It's a Mike Bean as well.
He's got with Nottingham Forest and is their spokesperson for pointing out the obvious.
You know what? Actually,
have you ever heard of a person who's had a paid job, to just point out the obvious?
Consultancy role. That's what it is. I tell you,
I could have told him that.
Did you see the Nottingham Forest owner coming down and having beef with all the referees? He needs one.
Go on, what's your thoughts on that, man? Because remember, it weren't too long ago in there. Was it a Turkish league where the owner came and actually booted a ref?
The thing is, though, you can't be having that in the Premier League. You know what I mean? I don't care if you've got all the money in the world. It's football at the end of the day, and I think
you never understand it. Like what?
No.
What difference is it going
to make? It's going
to make Klopp sometimes. I used to say to Klopp, I go, "There's no need to get that angry. What difference is it going to make? You're just going to get sent off in front of everyone." Yeah. Which happened.
I always remember you found out when he was celebrating the fourth official's face and then did his hamstring. I think from then he's calmed down a little bit. He knows that's pure karma.
I genuinely thought he was taking the piss then, but
until he sat down with a grimace on his face.
He pulled a hamstring,
Speaking of Mars, let's talk about which person we're going to be taking for the mixed grill then this week.
Only one player.
I'm going to take someone else.
Oh, okay.
So I know who you're going to take. So I'm going to let you sit in one booth, but
Let me
I'll
guess.
take
Let me
another
guess.
one.
Are you gonna take the creator?
I'm not.
No.
No.
Keller?
I'm going to take that's the one, Keller. I
The lot.
think
You got his lot out, and you're gonna go give him a big chicken lot.
that's the one. He deserves it. I think whilst he starts covering for Allison and keeps his clean sheets, he needs whatever he wants in the world. He can have
Yeah,
as many pegs, as many pints, as many
clean.
masala fish he
Yeah.
wants. Just get it to
You
him
know
because he
what?
deserves it.
I wouldn't disagree with that. The only thing is, saving shots doesn't give you the euphoric feeling of scoring a goal. So
Very true.
I'd go with Nana. I'd go with Nana Nunes just for the fact that he created that moment where everybody had a chance to celebrate.
That's
You don't really get the again. I'm not saying is not less important. What Keller has done and the saves deserve a celebration like Nunes' goal, but it doesn't quite work the same way, does it?
yeah.
I suppose if it was a 99th minute penalty save,
Yeah, very
you
true.
imagine that.
Very true. Might have to
Imagine
get a
that.
bottle of bubbly for Nunes though, because he's come to the rescue once again. So I think he deserves one this time.
Mix grill for Mr. Nana for me and Kelleher for you.
That's the one. Sorted. I'll pay the tab this time as well.
I think our tab's been going on since the start of the year, mate.
Yeah,
We
it's
just have to
expensive at
diamond
this
dash,
point.
change our names.
Might have to. It's more like we might
Can I
just
have a
set
mixed
our
grill, please? Can I
let's
have
start our own mixed grill restaurant at this
four
point.
lions. I'll go in as different characters. Hello.
It's terrible. Absolutely terrible. We
Yes,
need to work on that impression.
I know.
Giles, should we sum up then on all the wonderful games of football that we've had this week? We'll
I'll,
be coming
I'll get
back.
a game for you before you sum
That's
up.
what I
Come on.
mean. Get the game in.
I've got two games, man. We'll do the other one after, but I'll start off with the first. Yeah,
The ghosts have come for the screen.
the green screen's out, man. What
It's all
you got
falling
planned
apart
later
now.
on?
Bunga, man. It's Nunes. He's here.
He's like, yo, why didn't you give me the mixture? Jal, all right. I got start, sell, bench, but I'm gonna make it very difficult for you.
Ooh.
I'm gonna make it very difficult. I'm gonna pick three of our signings that have been absolutely fantastic this year.
Okay.
We got Sub, Mac, and Endo.
Oh.
That's a difficult one. Start, sell, bench. Now this is never going to happen. We start all of them, but in a game of 1, 2, 3, who's your start, sell, bench?
I think going off performances in recent weeks and who's been available, I think McAllister has been really the most important one that we've had. I think it might have to be Alexis as a start because he can play everywhere, and I think he's edging it with how much he's been creating goals, assists as well. So he's filling in all departments. So I'm going to go with him to start.
So now the question is, who's more important to our team at the moment, Endo or Sub?
That's the one, and I think it might have to be Endo at this point because we've got no CDMs whatsoever. I think it's have to be Endo. He's come in. Obviously, we talked about it at the start of the season. Thought, who on earth are we signing into this team? But he's proved us all wrong. He's come back after the shaky few games that he had at the start.
He's probably single-handedly made us the top shirt-selling club in the country.
Probably. I mean, Takumi Minamino did it for a bit, but Endo's doing it again for us now. So
yeah,
and
that's not bad. To be fair, I agree. Completely agree with your start, sell, bench.
Poor
I think
Sob,
Mac is just next level important to us at the moment.
And I think 35 mil that we paid for him, just
It's
absolute bargain. Absolute bargain.
But Sobo, obviously he's got a big price tag too. And when he started, we were like, "Yo, this is next Gerrard." But injuries have stopped him from progressing. So I would say Endo's become just as important as Mac.
Definitely.
Can you believe how good his performances are, though? Oh my life! It's a shame he's not 5 years younger because then we could have had a.
But the thing is Japanese players play until they're 40, 50. So it might not make a difference because of how they live and take care of themselves. And he's obviously taking care of himself. So
but you know what? He's gone for a couple of mixed drills, hasn't he? So he might not be living that well.
Maybe we need to stop feeding him. Maybe that's what it is.
Maybe we need to change it up, man. Maybe the mixy man of the match needs to be Salad.
No, forget that. We're not. What are we converting? We're not having that.
It's an AapnaReds podcast. We got to keep it. We got to keep it real. We got to keep it real.
That's the one. We can't be taking them for Salad. We'll leave that for the Sue and Jill in the kitchen to do for them. Jill, let's wrap up then. We'll move on and we'll enjoy all the wonderful football that we have coming up this week. We've got 2 big clashes coming up, which we'll be previewing on another podcast. So please make sure to keep your eye on that one. It's a big one this week. It's Man City versus Liverpool at Anfield, a game that could decide it all. And it could decide whether or not this podcast carries on running as well. So it'll be a very, very interesting game, which I'm sure we'll be watching very keenly. So make sure you tune in next week, and we shall see you next time on the AapnaReds podcast.
See you in a bit, guys.